Thanks for joining today. We'll go ahead and get started in just a couple minutes. All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today. My name's Stephanie Burke. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Lytics and your moderator for the next 30 minutes. Our aim today is to talk a little bit about next generation CDPs. So to get started, a next gen CDP to Lytics is one that empowers brands to use their customer data where it lives in their way, no replication or unnecessary migration needed. It's designed to offer flexibility, scalability, and overall agility, unlike traditional CDPs, which have been criticized for being inflexible, complex, and a data security risk. Next-gen CDPs enable brands to better understand their customers and their behavior, which ultimately drives better decision-making and outcomes. By providing more granular insights, next-gen CDPs allow organizations to personalize their marketing, improve customer engagement and loyalty, and optimize operations. They also help organizations comply with data protection and privacy regulations and maintain control over their data. With that, I'm joined today by Austin Wenzel, a seasoned advertising and technology professional and senior account executive here at Lytics. With a deep understanding of brands, business, and an expertise in data-driven marketing, Austin has helped leading organizations across industries improve their customer engagement and drive revenue growth. We also have Evan Bench here today, Customer Strategy Manager at Lytics, who's been working with marketing and analytics teams for 15 years, helping clients like L'Oreal, Bayer, and Disney Plus add value to their marketing campaigns through composable solutions. Thank you both for joining us. Let's dive in. Austin, what's your take on the challenges with traditional CDPs?
Well, first, I want to thanks for having me. And for anybody that's joined us now or is watching on a recording, I want to thank you very much for taking the time. So everything I'm going to kind of talk about today is informed by the work that I've done here at Lytics. I've worked on almost 150 CDP investigations, and so I've seen a lot. A lot of brands go through a lot of different motions to try to get the business value. And so when we think about traditional CDPs, the first thing you're thinking about is it's a massive, big monolithic application. So the challenge with that is they ask you to copy all the data and then put it in there, right? And so security and compliance, people start to get pretty worried because it's talking about data proliferation, making more copies of the data, which, obviously isn't ideal. Two is when you're trying to get a really big application off the ground, it's a very long deployment time. And so that slows down your time to value. It's very big on the resource side. And what you got to start thinking about is, hey, do I have my use cases in order to get value out of this really big application? And so I think those are some of the kind of key things to think about. And you think about kind of the traditional CDP.
Great. Yeah, and with that, maybe Evan, do you have any examples of how next-gen CDPs are being used by businesses today?
Sure. Yeah, as Austin said, we've both been working closely with many organizations, and they've been leveraging next-generation composable CDPs in a large variety of ways. The goals are diverse, but generally the objective is to improve marketing strategies, comply with some very unique privacy and security regulations, and achieve better customer engagement, but really overall impact operations and marketing orchestrations. A few examples, for example, enhanced personalization. Next-gen CDPs are giving marketing leaders tools to quickly create highly personalized campaigns by collecting data from a variety of sources, offline, online, stitching that together using real-time ID resolution strategies with those consumer multi-device interactions, first and second party curated sources, consumer preferences, with the objective to deliver targeted content or products to consumers. Another example is support for multiple and often very unique channels. Lately, we've been seeing marketing leaders making use of many more channels, and those channels tend to be very, very unique. So next-gen CDPs need to be very adaptive and support different ways to integrate. We've been seeing digital out-of-home, such as smart TV for airport, hotel, retail display, in-app channels, digital kiosks, and many others. So some very interesting marketing channels. Another interesting use of next-gen CDPs we've been seeing is in the area of influencers. A lot of digital strategists have been including data in the CDP to target both consumers and up-and-coming influencers. So this has traditionally been in the area of retail, hospitality, beauty, but we're also seeing a lot of activity relating to other areas that are unusual, travel, food and drink, leisure, both unpaid and paid. So that's another example. Probably our biggest is predictive analytics. We've been seeing the use of data science for some time, and this is just increasing, it's becoming more interesting. Next-gen CDPs are able to analyze vast amounts of data to predict consumer behavior, future trends. Marketing leaders, of course, can then use this to make better decisions on things like pricing, product development, price sensitivity, impact of weather on consumer behavior, impact of geopolitical change, and overall marketing strategies. But yeah, there's a lot of things we're seeing. So we could go on about this for quite a while, but those are the top areas.
Thanks, Evan. One trend that I hear both of you talking about is a large amount of data coming in from different channels, and then every business is going to want to be able to access that and use it in a different way. So kind of moving on to the next topic, we know that brands want to be able to use their data where it lives, how it suits their business model. Evan, could you explain this a little bit from your point of view?
Sure. From a services point of view, we've been implementing and building out solutions for clients for quite a while. The next-gen CDP does provide an architecture where the data is left in place generally, and pointers to that data are used to selectively enhance consumer profiles, sometimes field by field. This provides a lot of cost benefits, as well as making privacy and security more intuitive. Resources are permissioned at will for the duration of any ad hoc campaign. Resources can also be permissioned by roles and selectively shared only to those relevant agencies, partners, or internal principals. And of course, PII is abstracted, or obfuscated, or even removed using the available tools in the next-gen CDP. So that's something that the next-gen CDP does support. The pointers to the data used in an exchange or hub environment available to the CDP to provide a point for curation and validation as well before you even use those in a campaign.
Sure. And with that, can you touch on some of the potential risks with an organization's data architecture and how a CDP can help mitigate those?
Sure. The next-gen CDP really acts as a point of architectural abstraction and includes aspects of both a warehouse and a data hub that do attenuate potential risks such as breaches, non-compliance, and inefficient data management. Next-gen CDPs have robust security features that comply with SOC attestation reports, and of course include encryption and access controls to protect sensitive consumer data from unauthorized access. The CDPs are designed with client compliance in mind, and they do include built-in features to implement a variety of data privacy and protection regulations. We're not lawyers, of course, so what we do in the next-gen CDP is we provide a variety of tools to make that process intuitive in terms of data security and data privacy.
Great, thank you. And moving on to the next topic, we know that a next-gen CDP has the ability to fit seamlessly within an organization's existing data strategies, architecture, and their evolving tech stacks. At the start of this webinar, I had a data point on the screen that said as many as 40% currently feel dissatisfied with their CDP technology, and a huge part of that promised value disconnect is a lack of flexibility, data visibility, and agility from current offerings. So Austin, in your experience, what needs are brands presenting around their customer data strategies, and how does the next generation of CDP address those?
It's a timely topic. I actually talked to a customer about this who's moving away from what we'll call a traditional CDP to look at, hey, how do we become more flexible? It's really important for a number of reasons I can't get into on webinar. That said, I think when we think about data strategy today, compliance is top of mind. And so when you're thinking about CDP 2.0 or next gen, it's where in the world do I need to deploy this data to make sure that it's compliant within regions, right? And so that's a big checkbox when you're thinking about, finding a new CDP or going on your first CDP investigation. Where am I going to hold the data or host the data? And then the second kind of consideration of this data strategy is what are my security concerns? Do I want to deploy that? Is it okay to be in a multi-tenant environment? Do I need more privacy in my financial industries, or do I have some sort of data where I need a dedicated instance for my brand? Or, hey, I've got something that's really, really sensitive, and I really want to actually be able to take the CDP behind my own firewall and operate it myself. And so that's kind of one kind of thought about location and deployment options within that data strategy. Two is within this data strategy, it's really, and you touched on it in the last question, it's this idea, and hopefully anybody listening or watching is kind of coming to hearing this. It's about productization, right? And so we'll talk a lot about the data warehouse. And in a data warehouse, what we have is tables and data sets. And it's great for engineering people, but marketing people and other people in the organization can't use what's in the data warehouse. And so what you think about with CDP 2.0 or next gen is really about how do we productize that data that's sitting in the data warehouse and make it usable by anybody else in the organization. And how do we do that quickly? Because I mean, we've all seen kind of the economy's kind of moving along here. How do we get value out of it to drive positive business outcomes? And so one of the things as part of our data strategy is this, hey, we want to have a bunch of pre-built connections so that we can get this thing up and running incredibly quickly. We want to leverage the technologies that are out there today in machine learning, in can I say it? Or I don't know if there's a cap on how many times people could say AI today, or in AI, or in the data science to understand the value of those tables and data sets and surface them in a way that they're actionable for organizations to use to drive one of the major 4 business outcomes, which is increased revenue, decrease cost, increase efficiency, or decrease risk, right? And we want a data strategy that's directly aligned to that positive business outcome. And so I think these are all things that we need to start thinking about as we think about rolling out a CDP.
Great, thank you, Austin. And we know that with a next gen CDP, it allows brands to leverage a hybrid build and buy approach, meaning a brand can use both off-the-shelf components as well as custom-built components. The approach touches on some of the benefits that you said there, Austin. It can help them save money and time. It can also help them improve the performance of the CDP. So let's dive into that build and buy approach. Austin, can you talk a little bit about how that can help, that approach can help maximize resources and the value of a cloud data warehouse?
Sure. So build and buy, I think today there's a number of challenges or things that are moving the CDP industry forward. One is personalization. Two is kind of getting rid of these third-party cookies. The data productization, which I just talked about, and then lastly is a lot of engineering teams and brands have been putting in a lot of work to build out structured data within a data warehouse. And what they found is we've done all this, and now we want to unlock the potential of the data warehouse, right? And so that is kind of your build component. And if you have an engineering team, or you're a brand on here listening to this talk, and you have an engineering team, it's been my experience that engineers want to engineer, right? And so we don't want to take that ability for you to use data in a great way, a really smart and innovative way within that data warehouse to build models and do really fun and interesting things. I think that where the rubber hits the road is building your own CDP is not a financially, really necessarily responsible thing to do today. I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world that have tried to do this and come back after a couple of years and realize that, hey, we didn't think of this, or we're not really there yet. And we want to talk to you about how we, use your product to help kind of fill out some of the things we did do. And so why not think about all the work that you've already done within that data warehouse and how the value add of adding all these real-time functionalities to it with all these pre-built connections to get business value fast. And then also there's this other thought, right? Which is often when I talk to customers, this is the situation. Marketing wants to build a campaign and they reach out to engineering and they say, hey, I need this audience. And engineering takes 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months to get back to them. And engineering has become a service center for marketing. And what we want to do is have engineers doing really cool engineering stuff and marketing teams being self-service. And I think that's really where we take you with Next-Gen CDP.
Great points. Thank you. Evan, do you have some examples of how organizations can use this hybrid build and buy approach to maximize resources?
Sure. And those were excellent points that Austin brought up. Today's marketing teams do have very unique requirements. They have ad hoc campaigns for very specific or non-routine first or second party sources, unique channels, contractual partnerships with agencies, and our other organizations, cross-brand applications as well. Thus, the organizations that we've been working with have been very interested in the composable features using this hybrid approach, allowing them to build and buy the features that are needed. Some organizations that we're working with are focused on only marketing pipeline management, and thus they wish to use the CDP tool that focuses on idea resolution and pipeline management. Other organizations want to focus only on orchestration, and each is able to build and buy based upon their infrastructure, if they have a current warehouse or not, what kind of personalization tools they may have already or not. And they only buy really what they need. And that's what we've been seeing. The Next-Gen CDP offers that composable model, allowing these organizations to mix and match based upon their needs and as they evolve. For example, I have a client that a year ago or a year and a half ago started with really just audience segmentation for a single CRM source. Later on, they wanted to add data science capabilities and web personalization. Today, they're looking at the warehouse and hub exchange features to bring in first and second party data in a secure way that complies with privacy regulations. And they're also interested in incorporating AI learning to allow marketers to build SQL queries based upon natural language. So as organizations evolve, a Next-Gen CDP gives them that mix and match ability as they're moving along in their journey.
Great. We've danced around the theme of data warehouses a little bit, where data lives and how it can be accessible. Evan, how can a CDP enhance an organization's data warehouse capabilities?
Yeah, great question. For the leaders who are overseeing marketing efforts using existing data warehouse capabilities, the Next-Gen CDP really enhances their organization's capabilities in many ways. One of them is in unifying customer data. External or internal first or party sources or public sources, cross-brand or cross-organization requirements, those are important. And as Austin said, taking those technical sources and making them available in a marketing way using a next generation CDP with a UI that allows the marketers to access those sources where they live without having to do anything technical at all. So AI tools to enhance their ability to write SQL, for example, is very powerful, and that's what people are looking for right now. Additionally, things like advanced analytics and insights that are available in those warehouse capabilities, the ability to close the loop and generate iterative workflows for leaders that impact the data and in real time move the needle on ROAS, advanced visualizations of that unified data to see any audience overlap from other sources other agencies, other partners, suppression audiences, how CDP audiences are adding value to any given campaign, and of course, enhanced data governance. Very granular security rules and policies to manage consent and privacy. Also, data quality, curation of data before it's even used in an activation. Is it the right data? Is it unique? Is the ID resolution correct? What is the match rate? And these are some of the examples that we see commonly implemented in a warehouse environment. And of course, sharing data securely with PII considerations in mind, with a variety of partners, agencies, cross-brand organizations, anyone that we're working with to improve our marketing campaigns. We can share data, they can share data with us, and we can use that data in the next gen CDP. So very exciting.
Excellent. Thank you. So we're getting close to the top of the hour here. So just in closing, Evan, what kind of impact will the next generation of CDPs have on customer-centric leaders and their decision-making processes?
Yeah, great question. Probably the biggest impact we'll see as next-gen CDP professionals use that CDP. It's allowing the leaders, and those are people like CMOs, CDOs, marketing directors, brand managers, regional country managers, partners, agencies, a variety of people. They're going to be able to much more quickly and intuitively identify patterns and opportunities. The unified view of the journey that includes that closing the loop approach to the marketing activation provides that guidance through reporting, analytics that reflect the end-to-end consumer journey. The next GDP gives that flexibility to acquire and identify new opportunities as well, even in very unique and unusual markets and technology. Another impact we're seeing, or we will see, is the ability to anticipate market trends and consumer behaviors. Using that real-time data processing, using data where it lives, predictive analytics, the next-gen CDP will help leaders see those patterns, allowing them to actually change the data through more informed decisions, creating more effective feedback loops in the marketing workflows. Finally, we see leaders understanding that the privacy landscape we have today is in a great period of flux. The next generation of CDP provides a suite of tools to track consent, data lineage, while ensuring data privacy and security. Of course, like I said, we're not all attorneys. We're not going to rely on the CDP to become a legal expert, but the CDP provides the suite of tools and capabilities to give leaders that flexibility in complying with any privacy or security regulation, including the ability to be deployed regionally or in a private instance as well.
Thank you. And Austin, what advice would you give to businesses who are considering adopting a next-gen CDP?
So this, I think this is important. So if Austin's running a big global brand or even a mid-sized organization, the first thing I think that I would tell myself is we have to be really clear about the use cases. Mm-hmm. What are we trying to do? And then understand the impact of those across, what's the business outcome that I'm looking to achieve? What is the technical challenge that I'm facing? And then what's the marketing outcome I'm looking to achieve? And start to figure out what the use cases are. When you think about, a traditional CDP, this monolithic application, when you roll it out, you have to solve for all of those over a fairly long horizon, right? And so it might take 2 years to get to value. I think with as a brand, what you're getting with this next generation of CDP is the ability to solve in an MVP type format for challenges, kind of staged crawl, walk, run, right? And so let's figure out what those use cases are as we start our investigation. Two, I would think about, because of the way that the economy is now, how do I de-risk this and make sure that I'm making the right decision? And so I think, one of the things that we offer is a way to pilot those outcomes, right? And make sure that you're getting exactly what we're putting in front of you, and that you get excited about it, and that it is overcoming those business, technical, or marketing outcomes, challenges, or outcomes that you're looking for. And then I would think about, what's the horizon for ROI as a business that I'm looking to achieve? Am I looking to solve something now, or am I looking for something down the road? And, I think both answers are okay, but I think you just need to be clear with the organization, kind of what that horizon might look like. And the last thing I would say, if you're investigating CDP, I would love to talk to you, right? Shameless kind of plug. I'd love to talk to you about it, whether or not you're interested in our CDP or another CDP. I've worked on quite a few of these projects, and I can talk you through what I know, and I'm happy to spend that time doing that. So I think that's good.
Excellent. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Evan, both for the discussion today. That brings us to the end of the session. Thanks everyone for joining us. Just to summarize, the composable or next-gen CDP approach means that companies can build around their data warehouse with no need to compromise on security and privacy. It provides a customer data architecture and system that scales. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive in deeper, I dropped this link in the chat as well, but you can encourage you all to check out this blog and reach out to anyone on this call or through our website to continue the conversation. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a good day.